Thank you, Chairman. And first of all, I like very warmly to thank all speakers and all participants to this roundtable discussion. I think this has been extremely useful, and we have got a lot of exchange of very interesting ideas. I see that I have to a bit cut my 10-page pre-written statement. No, don't worry. I want to put my remarks in three paragraphs or 3 points, and of course this is a Nordic occasion. So first of all, what this means for Nordic countries, then what this might mean for the EU as a whole, and finally, but not least, is the national point, the Finnish point. What should we do here? For Nordic countries and Nordic cooperation, as this is part of our Norden 2020 project, I think this is a very good example how Nordic countries can contribute to European discussion, but also there are many aspects which we need to also discuss within 5 Nordic countries and 3 autonomous areas, how we best can do these things within Nordic countries. But there are many points where Nordic countries can contribute. Of course, our way of thinking, which is a bit perhaps more horizontal. We are small countries, everybody knows everybody, and it's easy to be in contact nationally, but also within the Nordic cooperation. We are open societies, and we have the long history of working with social partners and non-governmental organizations, so within the society as a whole. Last week I had the opportunity to listen presentations made by 2 Icelandic ministers who were in the government during the economical crisis, and they told the same story how Iceland managed to cope and also even take quite many good social elements within their policies. Of course, they were hurt quite much, but they managed to gain back on the right track very fast. And that's one way we can also, of course, give examples. What we should perhaps avoid is that we are not adding to the possible north-south contradiction which exists within the EU, and that's why Nordic countries need very open cooperation with other European countries, and it's a very good point that Nordic countries, the Council of Nordic Ministers, they have put EU higher on their agenda, and they have increased their activity, for example, in Brussels, and we would like to contribute to that. The EU level, of course, it has been the theme of today, and a lot of huge bag of good new ideas has been put on the table. Maybe the main conclusion is that, of course, the social dimension is going on. We have a large door open now. It's a bit for us and our colleagues. What will happen? Shall we continue with the way with soft law? Shall we be more direct on creating also concrete measures? Maybe at least the Finnish style could be to take several tracks. So try to go progress with many lines at the same time. Also, the preventive nature of measures should be taken on board. That is quite much what we like to say here today. Maybe one thing which was not very thoroughly discussed was the situation in 2019-2020, when the whole budget of the EU is to be decided in a very interesting situation, when the budget will be cut quite much due to Brexit, and at the same time there is a very much bargaining who will win, who will lose. But maybe it's also a bit positive, if you could say, if we are thinking about social policies, because I think everybody is losing. Now it's only question, where should we put the resources, what are the priorities, and there we should contribute from the social dimension as well. And how to do that, I think it was many times mentioned that we should have, of course, we should have these concrete ideas. Is it minimum wages, how we could progress there, but maybe most importantly is that we need to measure what we are doing and for example, are we much behind the UN tools like sustainable development goals and should we be more enthusiastic in the way how we are measuring our progress in this way. And also thinking about the years coming in future, when this pillar on social rights will be adopted, it's just like in a cloud in the beginning, but it will certainly be more and more concrete. One approach which could be something to think about is during our last EU presidency we had the theme on health issues, which is called health in all policies. Should we have the same kind of approach in this social dimension, that not only creating tools for social policy itself, but trying to look how social targets can be achieved in all policies which are in the competence of the EU. Finally, for us here in Finland, yes, now we got a lot of new ideas what to do during our EU presidency in autumn 2019. It will be very interesting, and we have a very interesting trio with us, Romania and Croatia, which are not the richest countries in the EU, but for example, Romania is now the fastest economically growing member state within the EU, and after Brexit it will be the sixth largest EU country. So they are certainly partners which we would like to cooperate very much with, and we need to be open, but also we need to have bring concrete ideas to bring forward together with Romania and Croatia. Of course, what is the most important is that Finland is the only EU country which is both a member of Nordic cooperation and member of EMU. So that's of course a very interesting role for us, and we can use it for many ideas. We have our own things under development which we could use for benchmarking, like basic income, and then this whole thing we are calling now well-being economics. It may be somehow lost in translation as well. We need also to discuss what is inside that concept, but we would like to see that social policy is not only eating the cake, it's also making the cake. That is quite what is the content of this well-being economics. And there we must also face questions like, can we use market orientation in social policy in a better way? And there, of course, we have then the danger of neoliberalism somehow, but maybe we should be more open-eyed when speaking about also the use of markets. And social impact investments are one example how to bring, let's say, outside the public spending resources for social policy. Maybe one Finnish style could be, of course, that we take not too long steps in one hand. Maybe we should concentrate on some very concrete things, maybe starting with this discussion on definitions, which is always important, but quite a concrete. On the other hand, there are some concrete themes already on the agenda where we need to do something, like youth questions, needs, and elderly persons. They are, of course, things which, despite the fact where we are going with the social dimension, we need to act also at the EU level. So to conclude, for us it has been a great pleasure to have you here as our guests and part of this project Norden 2020, which in our mind is also a strong bridge towards our forthcoming EU presidency. Thank you all, and I hope you have a safe journey back home.
Thank you very much. Let's put our hands together for all the speakers.